All the pleasure centers in my brain light up when I smell this perfume. Oh, I hope they haven't been discontinued. Welcome back. Wow, this is weird. We are back on my Canon camera. I haven't used this camera in a long time. And I just want to play around with the light a little bit. I've given up on my Sony for the day because as much as I love the way that camera makes my skin look, which is pretty much the areas I use it, also because it's smaller and lighter and easier to move around. So when I'm vlogging around the house and stuff, I find that one easier to use. This one's very bulky and heavy, but I do like the moodiness of this one. All right, so today I am filming for you a video that I basically stole. I stole this idea from Chris over at the Perfume Nest. She did a video recently talking about her favorite summertime vanillas, and I thought I might share mine because I guess in a way I feel like it's an interesting perspective from someone who traditionally has not really enjoyed vanilla perfumes. I'm not going to say I've never enjoyed the note of vanilla because clearly vanilla is in just about every perfume. However, traditionally I have not been drawn to vanilla-centric perfumes. And consequently, there's probably some in this list that a lot of people wouldn't consider to necessarily be vanilla fragrances first, but they do have a significant dose of vanilla in them, and hence they are making it onto this list. Okay, so when we talk about summer, a lot of us think of the beach. A lot of us might also think of a tropical island. We're generally thinking summer holidays and tropical florals, and therefore I could not do this list without talking about this particular perfume. This is Ylang Nosy B. Oh gosh, I really do love this camera. Why did I stop using it? So this perfume is very Ylang centric, as you might have gathered from the name. So it is very much a tropical floral scent, but there is a hefty dose of vanilla in here. And I think that's what makes this one so beautiful, actually. The vanilla in combination with the Ylang just seems to do so well, in addition to lots of citruses as well, which when you combine citrus with vanilla in perfume, it just makes the citruses feel almost candied, but then they are also, you can hear Poppy running around the background, but they are also softened as well. So the citruses lose that sharp, crisp, bright edge to them, and they're softened into this really sweet, delectable, full-bodied, citrusy element, and then you couple in with it these beautiful voluptuous florals of Ylang, and I think there's other tropical florals in here as well, but it's so good, and it will last you all day long. This is a perfume that every time I smell it, and there's not a lot of these perfumes in my wardrobe, I'm sad to say. I mean, there is quite a lot, but not every perfume in my wardrobe has the effect of just transporting me instantly. And when I smell this, it is so delicious. All the pleasure centers in my brain light up when I smell this perfume. It's gorgeous. Ylang Nosy B by Paris Monte Carlo is the first one on this list. I think Chris may have also mentioned that one in her list. There may be a little bit of overlap in this list. I can't remember which one she talked about. I just went through my wardrobe and pulled out all of the ones that I thought were good summertime vanilla perfumes. I should also mention that Ylang Nosy B, even though it is a perfume that I think harks to summer, it's not a perfume that I would necessarily wear in the high heat because it is quite dense. It has a lot of body to it. I just have this view that it might get a little bit cloying in the high heat, but I know that a lot of other people like to wear that in the summertime. So that's why I'm mentioning it for this list, and I will wear it in warm weather, but I just wouldn't necessarily wear it on the hottest summer days. All right, so next up we have one that I have talked about a lot. This is definitely another favorite of mine in terms of vanilla-centric perfumes. This is Gypsy Water by Byredo. This is definitely one that I have loved over the years. This is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum to Ylang Nosy Bay, is more focused around piney notes, cypress, juniper, woody notes, maybe a bit of frankincense as well, but the actual resin, not smokiness necessarily. Oh, this is so good. The thing I really like about this is the vanilla is very subtle in here, even though I consider this to be quite a vanilla-centric perfume. But the vanilla is quite subtle, and it takes a while for the vanilla to start to emerge when you put it on your skin. So when I'm smelling it out of the bottle here, I am mostly getting, you know, that juniper, those green, cypressy, aromatic tones, some woody notes, and maybe a little bit of resins, but not sweet, you know. But when you put it on your skin and it starts to warm up, over the course of about an hour or so, this perfume sort of transforms and it develops this underlying sweetness. So there's another thing. If I would say that if you like the sound of this perfume and maybe you've tried it, I know that I've spoken to a few people who've sort of, you know, smelled this on a strip or something, or smelled it in store out of the bottle, and they just were like, it's too cypressy, or it's, you know, it's too green, or it's too aromatic, it's really cold. It does start off feeling like a cold perfume, but when you put it on your skin and it warms up with your body temperature, that's when the magic happens with this one. I mean, I love the opening as well. It's really strange. A few years ago, I was not really into cypressy, junipery type notes, and now I absolutely love them, but they are sort of cold kind of notes, and maybe that's why I was never really that drawn to them, because they're sort of cool in tone. It does warm up, and you get this beautiful balance between a warm, spicy vanilla and these cool, piney green notes that are in the top. It's just gorgeous. So consequently, it's a great one for summer because it's not too dense, it's not too heavy, and it has that cool aromatic aspect in the opening. So that is Gypsy Water by Byredo. Next up is one that when I saw it on the shelf, I was immediately shamed because I haven't worn it for a long time, and I haven't even thought about wearing it for a long time. This is Amyris Femme by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Do I even remember what this smells like? I chose this one for this list because even though it is centered around, well, I guess it's meant to be centered around the note of amyris, which is, from my understanding, a aromatic woody kind of note. It's also got a lot of citrus in here, but this fragrance also has a lot of vanilla. It is a Francis Kurkdjian type of vanilla. It's very light and fluffy and airy, and you've got lots of citruses in here as well, so that also helps to make it feel a bit brighter. And it actually does wear really beautifully in the warmer weather. I remember years ago when I first got this bottle, a friend of mine on Instagram was doing like a tag thing on Instagram, and one of his questions was, what perfume would you choose for a summer barbecue or something like that, and in your friend's backyard? And I chose this perfume because I find it to be a very approachable kind of scent. It's very casual. It can be dressed up though, but you've got this lovely fluffy translucent vanilla that is coupled with these citruses and aromatic woody notes, and it's very easy to wear and it works beautifully in the warmer months. So that is Amyris Femme by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I just had a massive sneezing fit, so hopefully hopefully my mascara hasn't completely run, and my nose is a little bit red, but whatever. All right, so the next one on the list is one by Chanel, and this is called Paris-Venise or Paris-Venise or Paris-Venise. I don't know how to say it. So this is another lovely citrus vanilla perfume. It's very bright, a little bit aldehydic. There's a little bit of iris in here. So when I smell this side by side with the Amyris Femme, the Amyris Femme has more of that really beautiful, almost candied citrus element about it that's really sweet and tangy and delicious. This is more softer and more powdery and less sweet than Amyris Femme. But when you smell it, and you've smelled it without having smelled something sweeter immediately before it, it does also come off as being quite sweet, and it does have a bit of a tanginess too, actually. It's very bright and sparkly, and that was why I was so drawn to this. But now, smelling this after having not worn it for probably a couple of years, I'm getting lots of the neroli and a lot of the iris in here, which I don't think I necessarily picked up on before. It still has that really beautiful sweet citrus in the opening and the aldehydes. And it has this sort of almost resinous undertone. It's not heavy at all. It's very delicate, and a hint spicy, and I think that's coming from the benzoin. So it's like this sweet, spicy, resinous base, ambery kind of base. It's really, really pretty. It's one of my favorites. The only other one from this line that I own is Paris, and that's like a rose patchouli. But the other one that I really have my eye on from this line is the Paris Riviera. But I feel like I really need to wear this one more before I go and buy any more of the Les Eaux line because, well, I just don't need that much perfume. Anyway, Paris-Venise. It's a really lovely one to wear anytime, although if I was to compare it to the Amyris Femme, I would probably say it's less casual than that. It's a little bit more elevated, a little bit more elegant because of those aldehydes and the iris that's in here. So that is Paris-Venise by Chanel from the Les Eaux line. Next up is one that I spritzed on for bed last night actually because I wanted to wear it. I haven't worn it since I had, an obsessive month with it a while back when I bought this bottle. I had a 10ml decant of it, and then I ripped through that. It was over the summer. I'm pretty sure it was January or something. Maybe it was January or December or something. Anyway, so it was the height of summer and I was wearing this perfume. So it definitely belongs on this list. This is Poudre D'Or by Mise en Cire or Mise en Cire. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but I've noticed a few people recently saying Mise en Cire. So that's what maybe I've been saying it wrong. So this one, I can't remember what video. It was ages ago because I bought this bottle at the beginning of summer, our last summer, which would have been maybe towards the end of last year. This is vanilla done in a very powdery, dry way. There's Ylang in here as well. So it's quite solar and tropical leaning, a little bit like Ylang Nosy Bay, but again, this is way more powdery and perhaps a bit more woody and way less sweet. So even though this is powdery, it's not dense, and I don't think this is as cloying as the Ylang Nosy Bay could be, even though I haven't tried the Ylang Nosy Bay on the hottest days, but this one, I definitely wore it all summer long last summer. I went through a 10ml decant and then I bought the bottle. So love it. I think the description of this in the marketing is that it's meant to smell like golden powder or something, or golden something or other. And I totally agree. It does smell golden. It has that very yellow floral tropical aspect to it. But because you've got this powdery dry vanilla in here, and probably a bit coconutty too, now that I think about it, because now I'm thinking of, what's that one from Matiere Premiere, the vanilla powder, and it's got that coconut in it as well, and it's very dry. I don't know if this necessarily does have coconut in it, but I'm just, that other perfume comes to mind now because of this sort of powdery vanilla and the tropical vibe. I don't really think this smells coconutty per se. It still comes off as being more tropical floral with this beautiful powdery dry vanilla embedded into it. So that is Poudre D'Or, one of my favorite. I only own 2 bottles from Mise en Cire. There are many perfumes from their line that I absolutely adore, but obviously Solar Blossom, which was the first one I bought back in 2020, and this one, which was a more recent purchase, are definite loves for me. They're gorgeous. So that is Poudre D'Or. The next one on the list is one from Serge Lutens, one of my favorite houses. This is Datura Noir, and this is, in actual fact, a coconutty, tropical, vanillic floral. So there's vanilla, there's tuberose, lots of white florals, bit of jasmine too, and there's also coconut in here. There's also a sort of an almondy edge to it as well, which I confess in the opening I do struggle with that. I've sort of sprayed a little bit on my hand right now, and I kind of have to get past that little bit. It does sort of have a marzipan-y smell to it, which is weird because I actually do really like the smell of marzipan. Not necessarily as a perfume, but I really love it as the smell when it's in a dessert, even though I don't necessarily also love the taste of it, but I like the smell of it. But it does eventually settle into a really lovely, quite sophisticated, I would say, white floral, which is tuberose dominant, but there's other white florals in here. I feel like I get something almost green, but then I also get something a little bit fleshy in the fruity aspect. There's also this sort of dry, almost powdery element to it as well, which I think there's tonka in here. I don't think it's orris or iris or anything like that, but there is kind of a hint of a dryness or a powderiness, which is very subtle, but it's there, and it helps to give, I feel like it gives it just a little bit more body to those white florals. But yeah, there's some fleshy sort of fruit in here, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It feels like a yellow fruit. Maybe it's like a peach or a nectarine or something like that. But that also helps to support these beautiful white florals. So once that almondy opening dies down, you get this really gorgeous coconutty white floral with some fruit and a hint of powderiness. It's really, really great. It's a spectacular perfume for the summertime. But the common thread throughout the whole wear of the perfume is, to me, vanilla, along with those white florals. So that is Datura Noir by Serge Lutens. The next one I only actually have a sample of it. It's something that I'm contemplating a purchase of in the future, sometime. But my sample is almost done. So I'm probably gonna have to decide soon, or maybe not. I could probably just put it on a list and wait. The thing that's holding me back a little bit is that this is quite gourmand leaning. This is Rima XI by Carner Barcelona. I've been through a few samples of this to date, and I could just keep buying more samples of it, to be fair. I don't have to go and upgrade to a full bottle. The thing that's holding me back is that it does have a very gourmand aspect to this perfume. So you definitely get a baked good vibe from it. It's like a lemony, biscuity, it's like a lemon biscuit, really. So you get this beautiful, soft, fluffy vanilla coupled with lemon and this sort of biscuity, baked good base in there. So even though it's vanilla and lemon, it's not that tart. It's quite soft in the wear, and it's quite powdery, and it's not super sweet either. And that's kind of why I like it, because it's like a gourmand, a full-blown gourmand. It smells like a biscuit, but I like it. And I like it because it's not overly sweet, but it's also not too heavy. It's very fluffy and light and spicy. There's a spiciness to it. I'm definitely getting cardamom, but I don't feel like that's the only spice that's in here. I'm getting a bit of shoved my head into the spice cupboard vibe, but all the sweet spiced cupboard, not the curries or the savory, super savory spices. Anyway, that is Rima XI. Really, really like it. Contemplating a full bottle, don't know if I would wear it enough to justify a full bottle. Maybe I'll get a decant or something like that. But it is a really great vanilla perfume that I think works in the summer, because even though it's a gourmand, it's very light and it's very fluffy and it's not too sweet, so it doesn't go cloying. So that is Rima XI by Carner Barcelona. And then finally on this list is one that's not easy to get. I have spoken about this on the channel before, but years ago, like when I first started my channel. It's not easy to get, but it is still available, I believe, but I think you have to go to Spain to get it. I don't have the box anymore, but this is called, I think this is the brand, Agua de Indias. But then they have all these different colors and they do have different names, but I can't remember the name of this because it's actually not written on the bottle and I don't have the box anymore. But I know that this was the yellow one. So this is a vanilla, it's basically a citrusy vanilla perfume. It's got quite a lot of spice in it. It's a little bit green as well, but mostly I'm getting citruses, some spices. It also smells just a hint maybe leathery, which I don't think I ever picked up on before, but now that I'm smelling it, after having smelled all of these other ones, yeah, it sort of has this really delicate leathery undertone to it. Really, really beautiful. I'll try and put a link or something in the description box. I think I have found it online. Hang on, let me have a look. I'll see if I can look it up. Okay, so the brand is actually called Agua Ispal, I think. Oh, I hope they haven't been discontinued, because it looks like the website doesn't have pictures anymore. So I wonder if that means it's dead. All right, well, I'm sorry, but it looks like they've been discontinued. It doesn't look like they're around anymore. Hello, Poppy. Hello. Where's Dad? Go get Dad. Go get Dad. All right, well, it looks like they're not around anymore, sadly. But if you go to Spain, you may find them still in a random perfumery somewhere. You never know your luck. This is one that I bought in Sevilla. I remember there was like a little perfumery that just stocked these perfumes, and they had all, the line was all these different colors. I remember the red one was like a tomato leaf one, and this one was like a citrusy vanilla, but it's quite spicy as well, and as I said, it's sort of like leathery undertone, but I won't talk about it. I won't go on about it too much because it's now discontinued, which is really sad because I thought this was like the best one on the list in terms of vanillas that suit hot weather. I mean, it was made in Spain, for goodness sake, you know, it was made in Sevilla, where it gets really hot there. People go there for their summer holidays. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but let's just take another moment to enjoy this beautiful bottle, because it is a beautiful bottle. I haven't really worn it for a couple of years now, but now that I've dug it out of the depths of my wardrobe, I think I'm going to make an attempt to wear it, because it really is beautiful, and it reminds me of Spain. In fact, it specifically reminds me of Cadiz, because we went to Cadiz straight after Sevilla, I believe, and I hadn't really worn it much. I think I wore it the day we went to Cadiz, and then I wore it while we were in Cadiz, and so this reminds me of being in Cadiz. Anyway, so that is the last one on the list. But I'm sure there are many vanilla perfumes that work well in the summertime. So please feel free to share, because I think the ones that work well in hot weather are the ones that I tend to like even for the winter, because I just don't like my vanilla perfumes to be too heavy. I like them to be a little bit lighter and to be blended in with something else. I don't like them to be just too much vanilla. All right, well, that is the end of my list now. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos from me. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.